Hello and welcome to the Rev It Up podcast, helping entrepreneurs fill up their tanks, crank up the RPMs, and put the pedal to the metal until they cross that finish line. Hello, I'm Jess Tiffany. Ready, set, go. Hey everybody, welcome back. Hey, I got the awesome, amazing Derick, Mildred with me today, Australian and international LinkedIn coach. And super exciting to have him with me today. And so Derick, just before we get started, just so people don't have to wait all the way to the end, what's some good ways for people to get a hold of you and make a connection with you?
Hi, Jess. Thank you very much for inviting me to be part of your interview today. It's a pleasure to be here. And people can reach out to me via my LinkedIn profile. That's probably the easiest way. Just send me a request to connect or an email. And happy to talk further. Happy to help.
Excellent, and we'll make sure we have a link in the post as well with that. So, one thing I got excited about is I saw on your profile that you are a third Dan Sensei.
Yes,
I thought that was really awesome. I love the martial arts. I'm only I think a purple belt or something right now in my current art, but I used to be in something that's called Amrajitsu, which was similar to Jiu-Jitsu and Hapkido and Taekwondo mixed together. Just did straight up regular, AT karate or something like that. But tell us a little bit of how you got into that and how you stuck through it. That's a lot of hard work to get up to a black belt, much less a third degree.
Absolutely, thank you. I started my journey in Kyokushin karate about 22 years ago, and I normally in Kyokushin it takes minimum 5 years to get through to your first black belt. And I remember when I first started training, and about 6 months later, I watched my first black belt grading, and I remember seeing one particular person going for his black belt. Two people actually, and they had to do 40 by 2 minute fights. And I was watching this and I thought, oh my God, how am I going to do that? Because obviously when you start, you think, okay, I'm going to commit to this, I'm going to stick with it, and I'd like to go all the way through to black belt. And it's a full contact style of karate, so we don't wear any pads, it's real. We land punches, we land kicks and all the rest of it. And I remember thinking, how on earth am I going to do that? And so then when my time came years later, and it turned out to be 7 years later when I was invited to grade for my first level black belt, my Shodan. Like everybody else who'd done it before me, I was extremely nervous, but I didn't give up and just kept on pushing and eventually got through those 40 fights. And it turned out to be literally one of the best days in my life, because what it's all about is not demonstrating that you can fight against 40 people, one after the other. Many of them are black belts themselves. It's all about raising your own personal bar, okay, to another level. And your first black belt grading is the hardest, and then your second Dan, your third Dan, because you've done it before, you're not as nervous, and so you have a different mindset. And that's what's interesting with a lot of things in life. If you haven't done something before, sometimes things can be very daunting until you have pushed yourself to get through that. And then you realize that you've raised that bar. Then you realize exactly what you're capable of. And so when you do it again and again after that, you have a different mindset over it. That different mindset allows you to perform even better. And that's why I kept on going through with it all the way through to third Dan Sensei, which is what I actually am now.
Wow. That's fantastic. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know, it must be like 4 or 5 months ago, I did a hook kick and I tore a tendon in my ankle. And so I have had to kind of step back for a little while now. But the one thing I noticed what you said is about all the overcoming you had to do and the discipline and the hard work. And I bet that translates a lot into what you do for your business. Is that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think one of the things that it opened up for me in my martial arts part of my life, but also in my professional part of my life, is if other people can do it, then so can I. And that's the key. And these days we live in an information age. We have information available to us very quickly, vast amounts of information, literally at the touch of a keyboard, at the tips of our fingertips. And so you can see other people getting results out there. You can see other people doing things. And in some cases, you can figure out what they're doing. In other cases, you have to look a little bit deeper. But it's amazing that once you've got that mindset, what you can actually do, especially when it comes to helping people, when you figure out, okay, this is what we can do, let's make sure they get some results.
Absolutely. Well, fantastic. So tell us a little bit about kind of obviously you're a LinkedIn genius as well. I know we overlap there. And I noticed you're ahead of me in connections, so I'm a couple hundred behind, so I need to catch up. But anyway, so what are some of the things you've kind of done as far as the services you offer and how you've really impacted people's business and their profiles and whatnot?
Well, my journey on LinkedIn officially started way back in 2004 when I first opened up my account.
Oh, wow.
And then what literally happened is I did very little with it until about 2013. And a friend of mine, she described LinkedIn to me as the professional or business version of Facebook. Interesting. Maybe I better have another look at that. And so I managed to find my old LinkedIn login and logged in to discover I had a lowly 207 connections, I think it was. And so then in 2013, that's when my journey really started. Back then I was a web designer, building websites and doing SEO, and all of my business came through my connections on LinkedIn. And one of the things that I did in the early days of 2013, 14, 15, around there, was I wrote a lot of articles. And what these articles were literally doing was basically establishing and building relationships with people. And what I found was I'd get people who would interact and like those articles, and I'd get other people who just sort of read the articles and they'd sit in the background and watch. And what would happen is when I got the inquiry in my inbox and would set up a call with them to talk further, naturally I would ask them, do you mind if I ask you where you heard about me from? And they'd say, oh, I've been watching your posts, or I've been reading your articles, or something like that. I don't think you've ever commented or liked any of my articles or my posts. And they said, no, we've just been sitting and watching in the background. And, but we want you to do a website for us. Nice. Oh, okay. So what was literally happening, and this is when I discovered the potential of LinkedIn, what was literally happening is I was establishing, building and nurturing the relationship with my target audience, my target market, so that when they got in touch with me, as it turned out, their minds were probably 90% made up. They were going to go ahead with me to build them a website, provided my pricing was within their expectations. Nice. And I loved that. It just made everything much, much easier. It really did. And these were people, in many cases, from other parts of the company, people I built websites for that I never even met. I just did the whole lot via a Zoom call or via a phone call and via LinkedIn.
Wow. Yeah, that's fantastic. And is there kind of like, I saw you have something called the results formula.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain a little bit what that entails and how you use that?
It's basically, well, for starters, it's the name of one of my businesses, Results Formula, and I also have Results Formula Social. Results Formula is basically how to use LinkedIn to connect with people within your target audience, how to connect with them the right way, build those relationships, take the conversation to the next level so that you can basically generate some business out of it. That's what the Results Formula is.
Fantastic. And do you, so I know there's different strategies out there and whatnot. Do you kind of like stalk some of your people before you connect, or do you kind of just go right for the kill, or how do you on LinkedIn? Not the best way to describe it, but
reminds me of a couple of scenes in movies. What I basically do is, first of all, I'm a believer that when you're building your connections, if you're in business, first of all, you want to have your profile written along the lines of what's in it for them. Okay, so describe what you do, but what are the benefits to your target audience? Because when they visit your profile, you want to encourage them to want to know more about you. You want to encourage them to read further. All right, so e.g. to go through your profile. The next thing is, I'm a firm believer in building your connections with people from your target market, your target audience. Okay, there's no point having 30,000 connections if they're all from Outback wherever and they're not in your target audience. If it's not going to help you in business or in life, then what's the point? So first point I would suggest is build your connections within your target audience. Secondly, when you connect to them, really importantly, send them a personalized request to connect message. You've got up to 300 characters in there. Every one of us on LinkedIn knows when people are just hitting the connect button versus when they're sending you that personalized request to connect. So send them a personalized request to connect, go to a little bit of effort. Ultimately, have a look at their profile first, see if you can find some mutual areas of interest, okay? Then when you do connect with them, send them a thank you for connecting message. And don't pitch, don't sell. I actually believe you shouldn't even pitch or sell at any time on LinkedIn. For one reason, it's too early in the conversation. Okay, take the conversation to the next level by all means. Get on a phone call with them, a Skype call, a Zoom call, etc., or even a face-to-face meeting. Invite them to an event, a seminar, a webinar, whatever it might be. But don't pitch on LinkedIn because it's too early in the conversation. That's my opinion of it anyway. And when you think about that, when you really consider that, it makes perfect sense, because whenever we get a pitch inside our inbox, most of us know how we react to that. Okay, we can't run fast enough. Yep. And so when you start to change that strategy a little bit and say, well, okay, all I've got to do is just take the conversation to the next level, it makes things much easier. Yep. Okay, much easier. And what's more, it delivers much better results.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. In one of my presentations, I call them dogs. It's that person, as soon as you connect, it's like, hey, you want to buy my product? You want to buy my product? You know, and they're like jumping on you like a dog, you know, and just like, yeah, yep. It's like, whoa, back off, you know, it's kind of scary. And so I'm always, I always have trouble hitting the okay button to connect to those people. But sometimes I've actually found that sometimes if I kind of go, you know, say, hey, you know, this is a little bit over aggressive, you know, maybe we should, you know, say, you know, can we date first? Before you ask me to get married or whatever, and I've actually turned a few of those people into clients, but it was kind of you know, interesting that sometimes the worst messages. In fact, today I was on a phone call with a guy that was you know, had an automated pitch, you know, sent to me or something from somebody or something, and I reluctantly agreed to talk to him, and I was like, I said, I don't know why you want to talk to me. I'm not going to be a good fit for what you're trying to sell. And we got on the phone, and after about 5-10 minutes, we realized that there's an overlap, that he can actually, you know, you sell part of my services on part of his package that he offers. And it was like, all of a sudden it went from a terrible call that was going to be very unproductive, and I was mad that I even agreed to it, into now probably a very lucrative partnership.
That's the other thing too. It's a communication tool. It's a tool that you use to get the conversation started. Okay, yeah. And it's got lots of tools within it to allow you or to help you to do that. For example, it's got the social media side, it's got the news feed, the content, it's got the inbox, and it's got the ability to connect with prospects or people within your target audience. Yeah. It's got the messages such as your happy birthday messages, your congratulations messages, etc. It's got your company pages, your groups. There's so many different aspects of it that you can use as a tool to get that conversation started. But as you say, pitching on LinkedIn, it's too early in the conversation. It's like walking up to somebody you've never spoken to, who you're very attracted to, and the first thing that comes out of your mouth is, would you like to get married? It's just not going to work.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. So, as far as like your so normally when you're going from the conversation to getting them on the phone call, is there like a good way you transition that you find works really well for you?
Probably the best advice that I can provide there is two things. One, ask yourself when somebody's going to visit your profile, what are they going to see? Okay, are they going to see enough about you and your products or services to help them to want to know more? Okay, so how good does your profile present you and your business to them? So that would be number one. Number two would be try to have some social proof. Okay, and social proof can be recommendations or testimonials. It can be case studies. Case studies are amazing. And it's very easy to put together a case study based on a problem that your target market might experience quite regularly, or most of your target market might experience, a problem that they experience, the solution that you provided, the results that are achieved or were achieved, and culminating with a testimonial from that satisfied client. So a case study with that information in it that you can then forward to the person that you're trying to set up a call with. Okay, so you might say to them, do you mind if I send you a case study of what we achieved for one of our other clients, okay, who also happens to be in your industry? And so you send that case study through. It's got no pricing in it because you don't want them making a price-based decision. And so then what you do is you give them a week and then you follow up and you say, how about we get on a call? Just ask to get on a call.
That seems pretty simple.
It is.
I don't know how to turn off these. I keep getting these notifications on my computer, and I can't figure out how to shut them off. I thought I shut them off twice, and they keep popping up, so I'm not sure what I'm doing. So they're getting a lot of extra bonus content accidentally here. So sorry about that. You probably heard the beeps and stuff. Sorry. So I'll have to, before my next one, I'll have to figure out how to shut that off completely. So.
Not a problem. Not a problem. By the way, you can edit that out very easily with.
I can. Oh, awesome.
Yes.
All right. So, question for you. I saw that you're part of the Global Goodwill Ambassadors.
Yes.
I've talked to that. I think it's Richard.
Richard DePilla. Yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to him before. He's got like almost 1 million subscribers on LinkedIn, and then Lisa Jones. She's like a lieutenant governor or whatever, leadership advisor, I guess is what her title is. She lives like a couple miles from my house, and we almost made it to Panera, but it was like right when I think Corona just was starting, and so we didn't get together. So I have a outstanding invite to have coffee with her. But it seems like a really cool organization. Have you had some good success with that organization and working with them?
Absolutely. They're both wonderful people, and it's basically a genuine organization that's all about helping people and recognizing those who help others.
Okay.
That's the best way I can describe it. And it's grown internationally to extraordinary levels. And they are both extremely good and extremely professional at everything that they do.
Okay. Very cool. And so very cool. Excellent. Well, thank you. I got some hand delivered chocolate covered almonds.
Nice.
So that's the bonus of working at home. So you get the treats once in a while. So tell me a little bit, if you're a person just getting started on LinkedIn, and I saw you also do some stuff with Facebook, and so obviously some sort of overlap where you kind of do some cross marketing or something. What would be like your couple suggestions? I mean, obviously we talked about optimizing the profile and stuff like that. Like, is there a couple like quick tips that like a quick start tips or something you'd give those new people?
Sure. First of all, I get clients and people who ask me, what's the difference between LinkedIn and Facebook and which one should I use? And the answer is really simple. LinkedIn is primarily for B2B, business to business. Facebook is really good for business to consumer or B2C. Okay. So depending on who your target audience is, who do you want to reach, helps define which of those two platforms might be more suitable to someone's business products or services. The other thing too to consider is, okay, what are people's objectives? Sure, everybody wants to generate more business, but how do they want to go about doing that? What's their product? What's their service, etc., that they're offering or selling or providing? So those would be keys that I would look at there. Yes, we do a lot of stuff on Facebook. We do a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. There is some crossover there with some particular industries. There are other industries that are more suited to one and versus being more suited to the other. It literally comes down to people's objectives. Facebook, LinkedIn, if you're listening, Facebook is the most targeted advertising platform on the planet, bar none. But LinkedIn has the potential to match that. They're not quite there yet, but they could be very soon. And I hope to God they do, because they will just explode when they do. Their advertising part of their platform, it's getting better and better as time goes by. So that'll be great to see. LinkedIn, hello.
Are you listening?
Yes, Jeff Weiner. Yeah, they're both fantastic platforms. I describe LinkedIn as literally being the world's largest database of businesses, their owners, and their employees. And when you think about that, that's exactly what it is. So I guess the key to it is don't sell on either of the platforms. Focus on adding value and establishing, building, and nurturing relationships. And the reason I say that is over the years, we've all been sold to. We've all had the high pressure sales tactics experience at one time or another. And guess what? We're all fed up with it. We all dislike it intently, okay? Whereas if somebody adds value and builds a relationship with us, what happens? We warm to it.
Yeah.
And so that's the angle that I talk about.
Yeah, and one thing I talk about quite a bit is the power of LinkedIn is getting people off of LinkedIn. And it kind of sounds weird, but you know, getting to a phone call or having a conversation, you know, building a relationship. Have you found any methods that work really well other than just phone calls to get people into like a sales funnel or a market, you know, some other is pretty much the phone call your go-to, or what do you recommend there?
LinkedIn has its own sales funnel, and it's called Sales Navigator.
True.
Okay, I describe Sales Navigator as LinkedIn's own sales funnel. And the reason I say that is Sales Navigator, as you know, Jess, is a subscription. It's the next level above premium.
Yep.
And what it actually gives you a separate website, even though it's owned by LinkedIn. It's got a separate news feed that you can populate with content from just your leads. So that in itself is pretty impressive. So then it's very easy to interact with their content to start to establish, build, and nurture that relationship with them. You can narrow down your targeting with Sales Navigator to the types of companies who fit your target market, your target audience quite significantly, extremely well. And you can just interact with those particular companies or the people within them that you want to interact with. So you can build those relationships, then you can reach out, connect, further build that relationship, and then take the conversation to the next level.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's definitely worth the money to upgrade if you're serious. Yeah. If you have a product that's, you know, really low priced or something, it may not be worth it. I guess I tell people sometimes, depending on, but it's still might be worth it depending on, you know, what you're selling. But if you can afford the $70, it's definitely worth.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because you can make lists and you can, do all kinds of stuff. I know there's a recruiter level that's totally different where you can actually send out mass, to certain requirements and stuff, but that's really expensive. I want to say it's like maybe $1,000 or something. I don't know, but it's for recruiters specifically. So I don't usually recommend anybody go there unless they're running a recruiting organization. But as far as the Navigator, it's just a game changer. Really,
it is. It is. It's a gold mine. It's a gold mine. I describe it as LinkedIn's own sales funnel, and it's an absolute, it's a gold mine.
Yeah. And I find the higher up, I don't know what, if you call it the food chain or what do you want to call it, but the higher up level people like the Bill Gates and the Jeffrey Weiner and whoever, Jeff Bezos, whatever. Those people are really hard to get to, but with Gator, you can at least, see like when things are happening or their companies are in the news or, there's an article about them, and then you can, go to that post and comment and tag the, whoever you're trying to get a hold of that you can't get to. But you do that enough, sometimes, I've gotten connected to, I think, 4 or 5 billionaires through LinkedIn and lots and lots of CEOs just by, kind of being there and being visible and track, and that's where the stalking I was kind of joking about earlier a little bit maybe, but, like with the higher up, they're harder, if it's a guy that, is a local doctor or something, you send them an invite and usually they'll connect, but the guy, the CEO, where he's got, 235,000 followers on LinkedIn, he's just not going to talk to you probably unless you can break through the, gatekeeper or whatever. But it's amazing how, with a little bit of effort and, the right messaging and you can break through that barrier sometimes. So
absolutely. Tell me, what was your reaction when you're connected to a billionaire?
I was pretty pumped. It's like,
fantastic.
I was like, yeah, he said yes. He hit the accept button. And so since then I've connected a few others. But what was nice is I don't know if I can say. I don't know. Are you supposed to say the people's names you're connected to? I always kind of wonder about the decorum or the properness of that. But
if you're billionaires or the billionaires, I probably wouldn't, because you might result in them getting 100 requests to connect over the next couple of days.
Yeah, right. So, but he was involved with a nonprofit, and so I was going to talk to him about the nonprofit. Just talking about business, I find a lot of times, they're really hard to get. But if you can find something that they're actually personally passionate about, and reach out with that. The success rate just skyrockets. And so
for those who are watching, that's as easy as going to their profile and looking for mutual areas of interest. It could be, you might know the college or university that they went to. You might have even gone to the same college, or the same school, or the same sports that they're interested in, or the same interests that they follow. Look for those mutual areas of interest and mention that in some of your initial conversations or comments with them.
And there's also Facebook, kind of like what you talked about a little bit, but sometimes you can, pull them up on Facebook and look at their personal profile there, the public, what they allow publicly anyway. And sometimes there's a gold nugget, and sometimes just Googling their name with, quotations around it, to find that person. So you just have to be creative. I think a lot of people limit themselves to what they can search on LinkedIn, but there's other things out there and that you can tie into, and so I'm a lot of people, maybe you disagree with. I do an omnipresent approach to my marketing. I'm on Facebook and Zing and BB and all the and now I'm on that new Web Talk where they pay you to post and stuff and but I try to do kind of a broad stroke. I don't invest a lot of time. I pick about 2 platforms that I really invest in, get my name and my brand out there, and then the other ones are kind of just more to be exposed so people find me easier, and then links them back to my main websites and stuff like that. But and I know a lot of people are like, I only do LinkedIn and that's all I'm ever going to do. And that's great for certain things. I'm kind of into the book, the book publishing world too, a little bit. We published 250 books and several bestsellers and stuff like that. So I kind of need to be more broad stroke with my company, but for a lot of people, I think just LinkedIn alone is a gold mine. I mean,
It is. I mean, I still actually think it's in its infancy too, even though it's got 700 million followers.
Yeah.
I still think it's in its infancy in the way that when Microsoft purchased Skype, they put it on all our desktops.
Mm.
Okay, they haven't done that with LinkedIn yet for some reason.
True.
I don't know why.
Good point.
And I would have thought it's been, how long is it now? 2-3 years?
Something like that, yeah.
It's 2 or 3 years. So I would have thought that'd be one of the first things they'll do. They'll put it on all our desktops with the next Windows upgrade.
Yeah.
But that hasn't happened. But I think when they start doing things like that, they say they want to compete with Facebook, and they've got so much there that they can actually compete with.
Yeah.
I think it's only a matter of time, and it's going to be growing quite significantly. It has done incredibly well since Microsoft purchased it.
They've made some good changes.
Hasn't quite doubled in numbers of subscriptions, but it's or users, but it's not far off that. When they purchased it, I think it had about 450 million or somewhere thereabouts, maybe 500 million. Up in that, right now it's up to 700 million thereabouts. But yes, it's growing quite significantly, and the reason for that is people can see the potential of it. It's quite an extraordinary platform.
Very cool. And is there any like resources or tools or things that you like to suggest that help people with LinkedIn? Or I know some people.
Well, let me put it to you this way. I'm not really a fan of automation as far as all your messaging is concerned. I got an automated message sent to me the other day that said, "Hello, Marie." So
that can be a problem.
And so I replied and said, "Oh, by the way, my name's Derick. It's not Marie. Your automation's not something's wrong with your settings."
Yep.
And I've seen that over the years many times. But probably there is one automated platform that I do recommend, and that's called Hootsuite. Okay. And that's for scheduling not all, but some of your posts. Okay. And because unfortunately LinkedIn does not have the facility within it where you can schedule your posts. And I do know that LinkedIn is okay with Hootsuite. I've actually attended seminars put on by both of them in collaboration with each other. So I actually use Hootsuite to schedule probably 50% of my posts. Okay. And it just makes things much, much easier, saves me a bundle of time. Other tools that I would recommend, probably your standard tools, such as snapper.com for building your banner image or header image. I did use Canva for many years, then I came across Snapper. The thing that I like better about Snapper is it allows you to download a high-res image. Let me just bring up some others. Of course, your SSI, but I wouldn't put too much emphasis on it. Your social selling index. Yeah. It can be, what's the best way to describe it? You can get too caught up in it is probably the best way I can describe that. Yeah,
and half your, it seems like the last 10% of your score all comes from if you subscribe to Navigator or not. So it's you might be the using organic person doing LinkedIn on the planet, but because you don't have Sales Navigator, you can't get your score any higher.
The other one, actually, there is one that I would recommend that people, a couple I would recommend. One is called Calendly for setting up your appointments, sending a link out to people that literally allows them to go to your calendar and select a time with you that works for them. Okay, and the beautiful part is,
that a free one or?
Look, I pay about $20 a month for it, but it's among the best subscriptions that I have. And you can set it up if you only want to do appointments during certain times during the day. If you only want to make yourself available for appointments between 1 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon, for example, you can set it up to do that. Okay. And you literally just send somebody a link via their inbox, via email, however you like, and they can go to your calendar and they can select a time that works for them. So that's very useful. The other one would be Hootsuite, WeVideo for editing videos. That's wevideo.com.
Will that do captions too?
It will do captions, but you've got to do them manually. So you literally got to type them in manually. The best one I've used for adding captions to your videos is clipscribe.com.
Okay. I'm
And
not familiar with
that
that
will
one, so.
automatically add the captions for you.
Nice.
It's a very clever piece of artificial intelligence in the way that it works, because you have to appreciate it's working with different accents.
Right.
Okay, and so you upload your video, it will process your video. You might have already told it that you're Australian or you're American or wherever it is that you're from, and it works with different accents, and it will transcribe your video and add the captions to the bottom of your video. And it gets them right probably about 98, 99% of the time, but it also gives you the opportunity to go in there and check and edit any errors very quickly, very easily. So it's a great platform. I use that for all my videos.
I'll have to check that out.
What would be the next one?
Now, is that one pretty inexpensive, or?
Clipscribe, I have to bring it up. I think I paid a once-off subscription for it. Okay. Pricing, here we go. It's got a starter at $8 a month, a pro at $12 a month, and agency at $24 a month. So it's fairly inexpensive.
That's pretty inexpensive, yeah.
Yeah.
That's worth the price. Yeah.
Yeah, it does work extremely well. Probably the other one that I would recommend is a platform called BidSketch.
Okay.
And this is where you can actually set up your online proposals.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, you can design any proposal that you want within BidSketch. And so let's say you're talking to somebody that you've met on LinkedIn, but they're overseas, okay? And you want to send them a proposal. You send them your BidSketch link to the proposal that you've built in BidSketch. And not only if they accept the proposal can they digitally sign it through BidSketch, BidSketch will also send you an email every time they look at that proposal.
Okay.
So you get a notification that they've just looked at your proposal inside your inbox. So then you can fire an email back at them. Let me know if you have any questions. Did you see the part about, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay.
Cool.
And that's, for them, that's really impressive, because you can imagine somebody on the other side of the world, they've just opened up your proposal and they read through it for the next 10 minutes. And then 12 minutes later, they're getting an email from you. Did you see the part about? It's a really cool platform.
I'm learning a lot here, actually.
So those would be the key ones.
You don't mind if I steal those, do you?
Not at all. Have a look.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I have one built into my website, but I'm so slow at it. I don't know if it's me or the program that's the problem, but I swear it takes me like an hour to do a good proposal. But
when I was building websites for people, I had a generic proposal that I built, that I put together, which was basically the same for everybody. And then what BidSketch will do is it will personalize it to that next prospect that you want to send it out to.
Okay.
Okay. So you just type in that prospect's details and it will edit particular parts within a proposal to be personalized towards them. And then of course you can go through it and you can further personalize different parts of the proposal as well. Okay. And then you can save it as a specific proposal towards them, send them the link. They've got this personalized proposal that you've sent to them digitally.
Very cool. I'll have to look that up. That's pretty neat stuff. So Derick, I'm very impressed by what you do on LinkedIn. You're a person that I definitely follow a lot, and I like to look at your content. Any tips on making your content get seen more? Obviously, you do a great job of breaking up the sentences and making the pictures look nice, or the videos. Any tips on how you make it look so professional and nice that would be helpful to the audience?
If I'm doing some add value or value add type content, some tips ideas, advice, suggestions for LinkedIn, then what I literally do is I will shoot the video on my trusty phone. Okay. And then I will upload that video to WeVideo. I will trim a couple of seconds off the start and off the end where I'm literally leaning into the phone to turn the thing on and to turn it off. So I'll trim that part off. Then I will upload the video to ClipScribe and I will add the captions. In ClipScribe, I've already saved some templates. So I've already gone in there and very quickly, very easily designed or customized my own template, which is very straightforward. And so then when I add a new video to one of those templates, I've literally just got to add the title of the video up the top. ClipScribe will automatically add the captions or subtitles down the bottom, and I'll let it do its thing. I'll double check the translations or the actual subtitles, and then save, and it's ready to go. So awesome. That's what I do with those videos. Although I'm a little bit, I'm a firm believer, I should say, in mixing it up a little bit. Okay, adding value is great, and it does exactly that. It helps people out. But I also like to occasionally throw in a slightly different post, a bit of an entertaining post, or a little bit of an interesting post, or whatever it might be. And I think what's important with posts is you can see the numbers, you can see the metrics, and it's very easy to get excited when you put up a post and you get some amazing numbers or you get some big numbers. But I guess the best advice I would say is don't get too caught up in that. Just put up the content, try to be as consistent as possible, and just enjoy it. Okay. And what literally happens is you slowly build up a following, and you get more and more people that more consistently follow you. And that's, I think, where the real journey lies, where the real journey becomes much more enjoyable.
Awesome. Well, good. So, so we're going to wrap up here real quick, but I know you mentioned you had some upcoming courses. You know, I know you mentioned LinkedIn is probably the best way to reach you. But any follow-up things or any, but definitely tell us about your courses, what's coming up, and remind them how to get a hold of you.
Sure. I have a LinkedIn course called Linked into More Business. It shows people exactly how to generate more business using this amazing tool we call LinkedIn. That'll be released within the next month. And then I also have some LinkedIn and Facebook combined courses also coming out, putting the finishing touches to those as we speak. And so more information coming about those. But feel free to reach out to me via my LinkedIn profile, or interact with some of my content, and just let me know you're going to send me a PM, a private message, and feel free to reach out. That'd be great.
All right. And just in case, they're driving when they're listening to this, okay, so it looks like you have just one R in your name, right? Derick, not
D-E-R-I-C-K. Yep.
And then how do you spell your last name?
M-I-L-D-R-E-D.
Perfect. So definitely, guys, if you're listening to this, Derick is a wealth of information. Follow him on LinkedIn. If you can, take his courses. He's just a person that I look up to as an expert, and he's got a great Australian accent, and but definitely check that out. So thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk again soon.